You're doing okay? All right. Thank you, Cass. And so 3, 2, 1, action. Hey YouTube, TurtleAgs here, bringing you another AFK Journey video. Today I'm going to talk about the Endgame Mauler team, which you'll probably use in high AFK stages as well as in Trial of the Abyss. Now, I thought the silver stars were the level of Paragon. No, it's actually the level of your EX weapon. Yeah, hi mom, hi dad, hey YouTube. Awesome, awesome. So, the reason I'm talking about this team is because a lot of my viewers right now have either unlocked Trial of the Abyss, which is this content right here where I'm standing in front of, or they have unlocked the double battles in AFK stage 700. When you reach AFK stage 700, you start encountering double battles where you have to use one team for one side and a second team for the other side. And so for this reason, generally I tell folks, okay, run an Aaron team on one side and then run a Mauler team on the other side. And the Mauler team is what I want to talk about today. And this is actually the team that I ran for much of my AFK stages towards the end, as well as in a lot of the floors in Trial of the Abyss, specifically stages 250 through 300. So for this reason, you do want to invest your Entendre. That's this lady right here. Fantastic tank. You do want to work on your Brutus. You do want to work on your Coco. You want to work on your Odie. And then finally, you want to work on your Smoky. As you can see here, I have invested in all of them. They are all at least EX weapon level 5. And basically, the way this team works is that you have as the cornerstone Brutus to tank any attacks from enemies. You know, basically, Brutus is able to survive the first fatal blow. That's the Indomitable, which is huge because when in the first couple seconds of the match, when you are in Trial of the Abyss, let's say, and you're going against, let's say your resonance level like 250 and the enemy's resonance level like 350, you know, they're going to pretty much kill your team within the first 5 to 10 seconds if you don't have someone who's able to hold their ground. And the valuable thing about Brutus is that when he sustains the first fatal blow, he becomes immune to all damage and becomes unaffected. Basically can't be crowd controlled for 5 seconds. This gives Entendre time to shield, set up a shield and taunt enemies. She basically does it for the frontmost ally. This would be Brutus in this case. And what this does is basically Brutus dies, survives the first fatal blow, kind of like what Igor does. And then Entendre shields, and then your Smoky heals. And then that way your Brutus is back up to full HP. And then that buys your Coco enough time to get her ult off to get that juicy 45% damage reduction. And this is kind of how you survive. And because Smoky is an offensive healer that is able to boost the attack power of your party, and because Odie is the GOAT, able to do massive damage to your enemies, so this team has the perfect balance of offense and defense. It's kind of weird that Brutus has the ability as a warrior. It's more like a tank ability. That is true. Yeah, Brutus is a warrior, as Arcano pointed out, but he is also quite tanky and he does good damage. Like when you invest in his EX weapon, he actually has decent AoE damage. And then, you know, he does have the ability to become like crowd control immune, and that's what makes him such a fantastic off tank or even a main tank to complement Entendre. And Entendre, she's so good with being able to, you know, protect your allies. So anyways, I'll go ahead and showcase this team in a very high leveled stage. Now I should point out that for Trial of the Abyss stages 301 and higher, you do need to run a different team. That's basically Granny, Rowan, Scarlita, Aaron, and Arden, thank you so much, Meevil, for the follow. Really appreciate you. But for the purposes of this video, I'll go ahead and run a Mauler team just to kind of show you guys the ability to withstand attacks. Now, mind you, I am resonance level 285. These guys are resonance 442. So huge power differential, and I probably won't clear with this Mauler team because it's a very resilient team, but the offense is so ridiculous that they do end up breaking my defenses anyways. But I can at least show you how long this team lasts, and I can kind of hopefully be able to point out that just how bulky this is. One problem that the Mauler team does run into is that Smokies, sometimes your party members will walk out of Smokey's healing range, which is kind of monka. But thankfully, I think if you set up your position right, kind of like this, usually you'll have Brutus out in the front here, Entendre right behind him, and then you'll have Smokey probably like right behind Brutus. Yeah, and then the Blue Archer merrily or something like that. Yes, that's right. So let's go ahead and try this out. You do want Coco in the back. Just make sure that she survives so that she doesn't get obliterated. And then you can, in terms of spells, you can run different spells. You can run the Iron Wall spell to help with survivability, or you can run the Confining spell to like immobilize some units, or you can run the Star Shard spell to add to Odie's offenses. So I'll kind of showcase one of each. Excuse me. So this is kind of the problem, running out of the healing range. This is really, but Entendre did shield him. Yeah, so this is kind of the problem. This is one problem with this Mauler team, is that sometimes they run out of the healing range, which is kind of monka. But not always, though. And then let me go ahead and try with a more defensive team, a defensive spell, so we could do this one here. If them standing out of the healing range is a huge enough issue, what you could probably do... Okay, so, yeah, I mean, the stage is too tough. I should have saved easier stages for this video, but... I'm trying to think what other difficult stage you could run this on. I mean, I'm just pushing Trial of the Abyss now. And one way you could compensate actually is maybe do something like this, just to be within healing range. Let me try. Oh yeah, it actually kind of worked. There we go. Okay, yeah. This is going to be a really scuffed guide. But anyways, so normally this team would hold up if they're within like only 70 resonance levels higher than you. But when they're 140, or more than that, you can't really do much about that. So in another video, I will showcase the Granny Rowan comp that is even more defensive than the smaller comp. But... I also have Odie done already as a free-to-play. Should I get Coco or Corin to Mythic Plus from the Emporium shop? They're closest to Mythic Plus. I would go Coco because Mauler, the Mauler faction actually is really monka when it comes to wish lists. And actually, I'm really glad you asked this because I do need to point this out when building this Mauler team, is that when it comes to curating your wish list, you really do want your wish list to be Coco and Odie. So it'll look like this. And then once you get them to like Mythic Plus or Supreme Plus, I would actually get them both to Supreme Plus, then your selection will be more like Entendre and Kruger. Yeah, there's a lot of good A-rank Maulers.